Hi guys, welcome back. So today I'm going to be making a lovely little treat. This comes from home. It's from Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, and it is called pork pies. So these little pork pies actually have nothing to do with pork or meat of any kind. They are made with dates. So they're similar to a date square, but they're made in little cups instead, like little tart shells. I am really excited to make these. I've been wanting to make them for a while and I just never get around to making them. So today's the day. I'm going to show you guys how to make these Cape Breton pork pies. So let's get baking. Alright, so in my mixing bowl, I'm going to add 2 cups of flour and 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar. I'm going to put that on my mixer and let it mix for probably 10 to 20 seconds. Then I'm going to add 1 cup of butter. So I am using room temperature butter and I've cut it into little pieces. I'm using a half a cup of salted butter and a half a cup of unsalted butter. Mix it all together. You want to keep mixing it until it looks like this. It's all crumbly and ready to be formed into a ball of dough. So I'm going to flour my work surface and just knead it a little bit until it makes a nice soft ball of dough. Now I'm going to roll my dough out. So as I'm rolling it out, I'm just kind of making sure it stays together well, and I'm not going to roll it out too thin. I also don't want it too thick. Anyway, I am going to try a couple different cookie cutters, and I'm putting them in mini muffin tins. So far, none of this is working. Every time I try and put it into the muffin tin, it cracks, it breaks, it doesn't sit right. So I did try a couple different types of cookie cutters, and anyway, it did not work for me. I don't know why, it just didn't. So back into a ball of dough it goes. Moving on to plan B. I'm going to measure out about 0.7 of an ounce of cookie dough and put it in each of the mini muffin tins. They're not going to look as pretty as they would if I were using a fancy cookie cutter to do this, but I need to make this work because the cookie cutter did not work. So I'm rolling it out, flattening it in my hand a little bit, and then just kind of gently squishing it into each of the little mini muffin tins. They're not as pretty, but you know what? This is going to work and it's going to turn out really good. So once I have them all pressed in, I have my oven preheated to 325 degrees Fahrenheit and they are going to bake for 12 to 16 minutes. While the cookie cups are baking, I'm going to now get the pork filling ready. So as I said at the beginning of the video, that it's not actual pork, it's not meat of any kind, it's actually dates. So I have 2 containers of dates. They are already pitted and I'm going to chop them up. And I need to chop up enough to make up 2 1/4 cups of them. I'm going to take my 2 1/4 cups of chopped dates and I'm going to put them in a pot on the stove. I'm also going to add 3/4 cups of packed brown sugar and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Mix that all together. And then I'm going to add 1 cup of water. Again, I'm going to mix it, and then I'm going to let this cook down on a low to medium heat. And it'll probably take about 15 minutes-ish. You want to be able to mash your dates with a fork. They should be that soft. So once you've mashed up all your dates, add a splash of vanilla, give it another stir, turn off the heat, and you are ready to use your filling in your cookie cups. Okay, so my cookie cups are cooled, and so is my filling. I let it sit for probably about 5 to 10 minutes just to cool off so it wasn't too hot to be using. Then I'm using about a 1 tablespoon cookie scoop, and I'm going to fill each of these cookie cups with a scoop of the date filling. Once I've got them all filled, then I'm going to take a little spoon and just top any of them up, squish them in a little bit more, and smooth out the tops. These are then going to sit and cool until they're completely cooled, because when we put our icing on top, our little frosting, you don't want it to melt. So make sure these are cool before you make your frosting. Alright, so to make the frosting, I'm using 1/4 cup of unsalted butter, I'm gonna cream that together until it's soft. Then I'm adding 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. Mix that up a little bit. I'm also gonna add about a 1/4 cup of icing sugar at a time, just to mix it in a little bit before I add the 2 cups of icing sugar. So as that's mixing, I'm also gonna add in about a 1/2 teaspoon of maple extract, just to really bring that maple flavor out. Then I'm adding about 2 tablespoons of cream. You could use milk as well. You're gonna have to adjust your icing sugar and your milk ratio just a little bit to get the consistency that you are happy with. Once I've mixed all my ingredients in, then I'm just gonna let it mix and mix and mix until it is really light and fluffy and I'm happy with the consistency of it. Now I'm going to take my frosting and I'm going to put it into a piping bag that has a star tip on it. And I'm just going to pipe a little bit of the frosting on top of each of my little pork pies and make it look all pretty. Alright you guys, how cute are these? Oh my gosh, they are tiny little bite-sized tarts, pork pies. So I don't know why they got the name pork pies, but these are adorable and they were actually pretty easy to make. Yes, you saw me fiddling with the dough. It just, I don't know, maybe it wasn't quite, there wasn't enough moisture in it, because it kept cracking as I was trying to put it into the little cups. Eventually I figured it out. I put a ball in and I just kind of squished it around the edges. It didn't give me that pretty look that a cookie cutter would have, but they still turned out really cute. So I'm very happy with these. I love date squares and these are amazing. I think it's because I like dates. So the bottom is a cookie. It's a very flaky shortbread cookie. Then you have the date filling, and then you have the most delicious maple frosting on top. And together, it works, and it is amazing. You have to try these. These are a must try. And look at how darn cute they are and great for a party. So give them a try. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe, and the notification bell. And please remember to go check out my little cookbook that I created. So, thank you so much for watching. All my links and social media, everything is in the description of the video. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you for the next recipe.